This is 89-year-old Walt Wilson from Fussy Creek, West Virginia. And the first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about the rough side of life. Did you know that when I was born, my mother tried to pay my birth fee by giving me to the doctor? My parents spent the first 4 years of my life trying to erase my name from the family Bible. I was the kind of little boy my mother didn't want me to play with. Teachers had to take me home from school. My parents wouldn't come after me. They threw me out of the 4th grade because I wouldn't shave. They threw me out of the 5th grade for parking in the principal's place. And they threw me out of the 6th grade because I was trying to date the teachers. They threw me out of the 7th grade, or they wouldn't promote me to the 7th grade, that is, because my daddy was in the 7th grade. I went to high school under the GI Bill. When Millie packed my lunch for work, she would wrap it in a road map and say, "Go as far as you can and drive carelessly." I asked the doctor why I had to take a bath when I brought Millie to see him. He said, "So we'll let you stay in the waiting room." Once I tried out for a quartet. After we sang a couple, they wanted me to sing tenor 10 or 11 miles down the road. My Halloween mask is taking my upper and lower plates out. Now, can you tell me this? Why are people living near the cemetery not allowed to be buried there? And if you don't know, it's because they're not dead yet. I've got my pretty little wife Millie here with us today, and I want her to come over here because I got something to tell you about Millie. Now the reason that I brought Millie over here is the fact that I don't want her to think I'm saying something behind her back. But anyhow, we owned a little bit of property up in West Virginia, and I had bought wire to go around it and everything, and one day when I was in town, I bought a set of wire stretchers. And when I came home, I said, "I got some wire stretchers while I was in town today." She said, "What are wire stretchers?" I said, "What do they sound like?" She said, "Well, they sound like something to stretch a fence with, or fence stretchers." And I said, "Well, that's exactly right." And I started to walk away, and she said, "Well, why did you need fence stretchers? I thought you bought enough to go around it in the first place." But anyhow, in case you don't know it, a man cannot marry his widowed sister because he's dead. And when was beef the highest? When the cow jumped over the moon. I'm going to tell you a few little stories now. And this one is true. Over in Elizabeth, Tennessee, there was 2 boys, twins, that were not quite up to par in their minds. And so this factory hired them. And one of the boys got killed. And so they made an agreement with the other boy that if he would not sue the factory, that he could have a lifetime job there. Well, you know, he got a little bit lax in his work and so forth. But anyhow, they sold the plant to another guy. And he came in and looked all around. One day he went out to examine what he'd bought. And they had already told him about this boy that had a lifetime job. And so when he came to that fellow sitting up on the barrel swinging his legs, and the owner said to him, "Who are you?" And when he told him, he realized he was the boy that couldn't be fired, you know. So he said to him, "You got it made, haven't you?" And the boy said, "Yeah, I got it made." He said, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm Mr. So-and-so, and I own this plant." And the boy said, "Well, hellfire, you got it made too." Can you tell, I'm sorry, can you tell me what is the name of the state that is round on both ends and high in the middle? If you can't, it's an easy answer. It's Ohio. There was a boy that was born one time. He only had one eye and just a socket for the other one. Never could get girls to go out with him or nothing. And so he'd grown up to the place where it was getting serious. So they were having a barn dance, and his daddy said to him, "Son, I'm going to whittle you out a wooden eye and put it in there for you to go to the barn dance." So he whittled it out, went to the barn dance, and no girls would dance with him. And so they got a little bit serious, and his daddy said to him, said, "Son, there's a girl sitting over there against the wall that's hair-lipped." And said, "Why don't you go and see if she wants to dance?" He said, "I will." And he went over there and said, "Would you like to dance?" And she said, "Would I, would I?" And he said, "Hair-lip, hair-lip." There was this man that used to come home drunk every night, and he would vomit in his wife's sink and then go on to bed. And so one evening the wife was sitting on the porch, and she saw this cat get run over out in the road and squished its guts all over every place, you know. So she went out and got that thing and put it in a sink. And so the next morning when they woke up, he said, "Darling, my drinking days are over." She said, "How's that?" He said, "Well," says, "you know, every night when I come home, I puke in your sink." She said, "Yeah, I know that." He said, "Well, I'm not going to do that anymore." Said, "Last night I spit up my guts, but with a little help of salt and pepper, I got them all back down again." Did you hear about the guy they called Blister? He always showed up after the work was done. There was a guy riding through the country, and he had to go to the bathroom bad. So he stopped at this little country store, asked them if they had a place he could go to the bathroom. They said, "Well, the John is down back." He said, "You can go down there." So he took off and ran down to that little John down there. And the door was locked, and he knocked on the building and said, "Can I come in?" And the guy inside said, "Yeah, this is a two-holer, come on in." And so he let him in. And when he got in there, the guy had a broomstick and was stirring down in the pit. And so the man that's about to go to the bathroom said, "What in this wide world are you doing?" He said, "Well, I dropped my coat in there." And the guy said, "Well, you know that you would never wear that coat again if you got it out." He says, "Yeah, I know that, but I want to get my ham sandwich out of the pocket." If you didn't know it, the daddy in the Tater family is called Dick. And there was a guy that went into a bar, and he drank till he got drunk. And the bartender stopped him, said, "You can't have any more." He said, "I want another drink, bartender." The bartender said, "I've already told you that you cannot have any more whiskey." And the guy said, "I'll tell you what," said, "if you don't give me a drink, I'm going to pick up that spittoon over there and drink everything in it." And the bartender said, "I don't care what you do, you go ahead." So the guy went over, got the spittoon, lifted it up, started drinking out of it, you know. And the bartender got sick. And he said, "Ooh, ooh," says, "Stop, stop, stop. I'll give you the drink, I'll give you the drink, stop." And the guy kept right on drinking till he emptied the daggone thing. And after he emptied it, he set it down, and the bartender said, "Why didn't you stop when I asked you to? I would have given you the drink." And the guy said, "Well, I couldn't. It was all in one big long string." Things you need to know. The Dillo family named one of their sons Armin. The best price on dentures are down at the morgue. Wise men brought gifts to Jesus. Now we exchange gifts among ourselves. He must have been smarter than we are. And I hope that you have obeyed the gospel. I want you to read 2 Thessalonians 1, 7 and 8. And I don't know if there's going to be a next time on this or not, but I hope you have enjoyed this one. We'll see you later.